Tom Harris, a wildlife ranger with nearly 20 years of experience, stood beside his old Jeep. His eyes scanned the horizon, as they always did every morning. The land was familiar to him, almost like a living friend. Every sound, every shadow, every whisper in the wind told him something, if he listened closely enough. Tom wasn't just a ranger. He was a guardian, a quiet protector of creatures that couldn't speak for themselves. He loved the wild. He respected it. But most of all, he understood its silencing and sometimes its cries. That morning, as he prepared to start his daily patrol, a call came through the radio. It was faint, crackling, but urgent. A local guide had spotted something strange not far from the eastern cliffs. There were no tourists in that zone, only wild, raw terrain. It wasn't the kind of place a lion would normally be alone. Tom didn't waste a second. He jumped into his Jeep, dust rising behind him as the tires rolled over the dirt. The deeper he drove into the wild, the quieter it got. The trees grew denser, the air heavier. Something didn't feel right. After nearly 30 minutes, he arrived, near the cliffs. He cut the engine and stepped out slowly. The silence here was different, too still. That's when he heard it, a low, broken sound. Not a growl, not a roar. It was a cry, a lion's cry. Tom followed the sound on foot, his boots crunching softly on dry leaves. His heart pounded. Lions didn't cry like this, not unless something was terribly wrong. And then he saw him. Lying beside a fallen tree, half covered in dust and blood, was a massive male lion. His golden mane was dirty and tangled. His eyes, full of pain, locked onto Tom's. But instead of attacking, instead of showing teeth, the lion whimpered. He was begging. Tom froze. His instincts told him this was dangerous, but something in the lion's eyes told a different story. Not of threat, but of trust. The beast was badly hurt. One of his legs was twisted unnaturally. There was a deep wound near his ribs, most likely from a trap or a poacher's crude wire snare. Tom moved slowly, speaking softly as if talking to a child. "It's okay, boy. I'm here now. I got you." The lion didn't move. He only blinked, as if asking for help without words. Tom knew he couldn't carry the lion alone, but he couldn't leave him either. He radioed for the mobile vet team, though he knew it would take time for them to reach such a remote place. The hours that followed were tense. Tom stayed beside the lion, keeping watch. Hyenas began to appear in the distance, circling like shadows. Tom picked up a branch and lit a small fire. The flames and smoke helped keep the scavengers away. But still, the lion groaned in pain, shaking with every breath. Tom reached gently into his pack and pulled out a water bottle. With slow hands, he let a few drops fall near the lion's mouth. The lion licked it, weakly, gratefully. "You're not giving up on me, huh?" Tom whispered. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, clouds began to gather. A storm was brewing. Thunder rumbled in the distance. The wind picked up. The trees bent and moaned. Rain would soon follow, and with it the risk of flooding near the cliffs. Tom faced a decision. Stay put and risk both of them getting trapped, or try to move the lion closer to higher ground before the rain came. It was a crazy idea. A full-grown lion, injured and heavy, couldn't be moved by one man. But Tom tried. He found a strong branch and used his belt and shirt to make a makeshift stretcher. He spoke to the lion the whole time, hoping his voice would calm him. When he tried to shift the lion's body, the beast growled, not in anger, but in pain. Still, he didn't attack. He was allowing it. With every ounce of strength, Tom dragged the stretcher inch by inch toward the Jeep. The rain began to fall. Light at first, then heavy. Thunder crashed overhead. The ground turned slippery, but Tom didn't stop. The lion let out a loud, guttural cry as they moved, and for a second, Tom feared it was over. But then the lion laid, his head down again, trusting him. Finally, they reached the Jeep. The vet team was still 30 minutes out. Tom had no choice. He had to keep the lion alive until they arrived. He covered the lion with a tarp to shield him from the cold. He sat beside him, soaked, shivering but never once leaving. That's when the lightning struck, not far off. The sound shook the ground. Suddenly, a massive tree branch cracked and fell, missing the Jeep by only a few feet. Tom's heart raced. He knew nature could be both beautiful and cruel, but right now it was testing them both. Then headlights appeared in the distance. The vet team had arrived. They worked fast, sedating the lion gently, checking his wounds, and loading him into a special carrier. Tom rode with them to the rescue center, his clothes muddy, his body aching, but his heart full of hope. The surgery took hours. The vet said the lion had lost a lot of blood. Infection had begun to spread. If Tom hadn't found him when he did, the lion wouldn't have made it through the night. Days passed. Tom visited the center every morning. The lion, now named Rafiki, meaning friend in Swahili, slowly began to heal. He would lift his head when Tom entered the room. He would blink slowly, calmly. A quiet bond had formed between man and beast, one built not on words but on trust and something deeper. 2 months later, Rafiki stood on all 4 legs again. His mane was thick, his eyes bright. He was ready to go home. Tom drove him back, to the wild, to the very plains where it had all begun. The cage door opened. For a moment, Rafiki just stood there. Then slowly, he stepped out. He looked back once, just once, at Tom, and then he ran, free, proud, alive. Tom watched until he disappeared into the horizon. That night, under the stars, Tom sat by the fire, thinking about the journey, about how one cry for help had turned into something unforgettable. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear dusty boots, carry old radios, and listen when the wild speaks. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps us bring you more powerful stories from the wild, where every creature, big or small, has a voice worth hearing. Thank you for staying with us until the end. And remember, sometimes the strongest bonds are born not in words, but in moments of silent trust.